What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the OddsSharper channel, coming to you with a Week 14 edition of NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Currently in the middle of a blizzard in Breckenridge, Colorado. Good times are had by all. Hey, Duke's having fun, and that's really all that matters. Duke's nukes have been rocking in the NBA streets. Hit the first one of those, which again are just massive long shot cards. Fun stuff over on the old socials if you follow me at Eric Lindquist. But really, follow me over on Tails. Tails is the best, most amazing emerging app here in the betting space. We got tails.bet/Lindy. That's the link to go follow me now up to 5.6K followers. That feels nice. Come tail me. I put out a lot of free stuff, put out a lot of paid stuff there over in the VIP. And you know, VIP gets everything already because these lines, they're not going to stick around for long, especially after we hit them. So tails.bet/Lindy, if you guys want to jump in, get the best prices all of the time. Plus, if you ever have questions, hit me up at Eric Lindquist over on X. Happy to do it. Plus, hey, download the Tails app if you haven't already. Go get yourself some of that goodness, mainly because, well, that way you can give us a 5-star rating and we can continue to do this program, continue to do amazing stuff here in the streets. Let's get to some plays though. Week 14, a lot of your best ball, a lot of your fantasy championships, a lot of everything. Huge week for it. Obviously, you can't win the championship, but you certainly can lose it here if you're on the bubble. We'll talk about a couple of players with some massive implications. Let's get to the leans. Awesome. There's 12 games on Sunday. We'll cover the Monday night game in addition to NBA on Sunday night. But we begin in the lean category here with Steelers and Ravens. And the Ravens are starting to figure out their lives, whereas the Steelers are falling into shambles. And I will say this is one of those things where you look at historical pricing and it doesn't necessarily matter for a guy like Jaylen Warren, purely because who's pushing him? Of course, it's Kenneth Gainwell. Of course, we've seen him involved in the passing game and making good plays here for Pittsburgh. So much so that now Arthur Smith is backed up to his old tricks. And by old tricks, I mean he hates all of us. Plus 185, though, for Jaylen Warren. I understand it's a difficult matchup. I understand Baltimore's been playing really up and down football. Obviously, they were the massive disappointment of Thanksgiving. I think everybody was kind of disappointed for Baltimore in that spot. That felt like you could put your foot down on the throat and really assert yourself in the AFC. And now Cincinnati comes back with Burrow. We'll talk about that spot here on the next lean slide because I can't find anything even in that game that I like all that much. Indy taking on Jacksonville. This is a game I'm excited from a real life perspective because there's huge implications to the AFC playoff chase. Jacksonville's really come on their defense, and we saw some Trevor Lawrence upside, which it has been a long time since, like, I don't know, Clemson, Trevor Lawrence. I guess there was that one good year under Doug Peterson, which was a very rare year at times, but under 46.5, purely because of the running games. I think both teams, Indy, number one with the rush, Jacksonville emerging with ETN and Tootin, but everybody's priced pretty efficiently. It's a very tough game for me, under 46.5. I do think because of how much they're rushing, how much they're running, how much we expect them to be doing that, I think that's the right side of this one, but not enough to put my money behind it. Another lean, we got Sanders over 158.5 passing yards. If you had told me I would be looking at Shedeur Sanders props and favorably in week, 14, December 7th, I would have thought you were nuts. First off, I would have said, how is he starting? Well, concussions are a thing, injuries are a thing, trades are a thing. So here we are. Shedeur Sanders, it looks like ugly weather from a rain perspective. Again, it doesn't look like even snow in the forecast. Look like it could be some drizzling there. If that maintains, though, it's only up to like 10 mile per hour winds. I think it's in enough of a spot here going up against Cam Ward on the other side. And you got to think Shedeur Sanders, it's got to be a part of him. It wants to stick it to the team that had the number one pick. There were people talking about Shedeur Sanders being a number one pick. Not only that, not a first round, second round, third round, fourth round. I mean, he fell way back in the draft to Cleveland, and it would seem like Stefanski didn't really want him anyway, but value is value, and you take shots at as many quarterbacks in drafts as you can. Most important position on the football field. Next up, speaking of the most important position on the football field, taking on my Minnesota Vikings, the Washington Commanders, one of the most interesting football games. I went through some of the metrics that we had from that one specifically, and I will say they looked awesome against a very pungent Denver defense. But now we switch quarterbacks from Marcus Mariota to Jaden Daniels. I'm looking at under 37.5 rushing yards purely because Washington is out of the playoff chase. They go from the NFC Championship game last year because of Jaden Daniels into this situation they're at now where they are playing for pride. As are my Minnesota Vikings for what it's worth, and JJ McCarthy off concussion protocol. Some would argue he's been in concussion protocol every time he throws a football, but you know, it is what it is. Jaden Daniels, I don't know if you want him out there running as much as what he technically is going for. This is a lower line than you're typically seeing for Jaden Daniels in competitive spots. We saw him mid-50s here, but coming off of injury with his elbow, coming off of, just a down season here for Washington, kind of terrible breaks, and their defense didn't play all that well. I do think this is a spot we could see them say, hey, sit in the pocket, get out of there, get rid of the football, don't try to do anything cute. We need you next year. Over 53.5 for Cincinnati and Buffalo. This is me kind of just looking at what the markets are doing. One thing I don't talk about a ton here is just kind of market movement. I'm usually analyzing DVOA. I'm looking at rushing yards, specific matchups and so many different metrics that I care about a lot. And technically, they don't necessarily make for great content when it comes to the market moving, but the market 52.5, 54.5. It's been bouncing around. It's basically come down a point considerably across the entire board here now. And I'm kind of wondering why that is, because I do think Chase Brown's kind of an interesting rushing yards prop. He's somebody that popped on Portfolio EV, which is a market-based tool as it is, but now he's up to 53.5 rushing yards. I don't think the ladder has all that much value, but maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns does, purely because Buffalo, we saw the Sean Tucker game. They have been pretty bad against the run in general, but maybe they mix in more Samaje Perine as we wind down this season. Joe Burrow's out there. He loves football. He's doing things. Again, it's so hard to know how much Cincinnati wants to push their main guys. Jamar Chase sitting sub 90 yards. Again, this is a team, Buffalo, that wants to stop the pass. And that makes me a little bit worried about Joe Burrow and company going in there if Chase Brown is not able to be effective, if Samaje Perine cannot add a little something there. And Buffalo, they've got Josh Allen, 2.5 passing touchdowns being his line across the board now. Ridiculous stuff, but it makes sense. The main thing to pay attention to here, Cincinnati, they get completely hemorrhaged against the tight end position. Dalton Kincaid, this was the question. Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Sounds like he's going to be suiting up. So there's a lot of interest that I have for this game, but I kind of need to get that injury report because Kincaid or Knox, I can't touch either of their prices right now, not knowing information about the other. I think if you made me just blindly do it, Kincaid purely because you just get the void in the event that he is not out there. But 53.5, I do expect points in that one still. And Cincinnati, they're able to get the ground game going. This could be a surprise upset. RJ Harvey, 50-plus rush yards, purely because we saw a massive workload for him. Julian McLaughlin, a little bit, I will remember you. A little bit distant there in the backfield. As for the Raiders, they lost to the Browns, and that's pretty embarrassing when, once again, Shedeur Sanders is your quarterback. They go out there. They played pretty considerably well, I would say, in LA. Chargers, whatever. There's not a lot to say about Geno Smith in this Raiders team. Everything DVOA across the board. He's the most sacked quarterback. Everything is bad on that offensive line, and it's not exactly helping out Ashton Genty, even though I hated that pick. I think I've said that 50 million times on this program. Chicago taking on Green Bay. This is a massive game, obviously, in the NFC North, of which my Vikings, the hat I am wearing, the dunce cap, if you will, they are not any part of this NFC North conversation, but both these teams are, and Chicago will be playing without Rome Odunze. And Rome Odunze has been awesome both at his Washington tenure here into the NFL, has shown some massive spiked upside games. I think Luther Burden can kind of be that guy. I'm really paying attention to Luther Burden props and kind of the movement there. Sitting sub 40 yards, 37.5 on DraftKings right now. I think he can be one of those dynamic playmakers, and you need to get the ball out fast. You need to get it out, swing passes, short distance, and then also take a couple of deep bombs where you're just getting it out of your hands immediately, because we're aware of what Green Bay does. They rush the passer. Also, if they're able to get anything going, Kyle Monangai probably going to be a huge part of it. Shout out a real one for that ladder. Oh, that was me. Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, just immediate number one role immediately here. Matthew Golden should be good to suit up for this one. Does it even matter? Do they even care? My guess is that answer is no. So pay attention to some of the usage here. Reed did not get activated off of IR here yet. I expect Matthew Golden to play. He played week 11 in between 2 weeks here, and now we are looking week 14. Man, has he been a disappointment this season. Isaiah Pacheco, under 28.5 rushing yards. We've kind of been backing him, then we've been shorting him. I've had a pretty good feel for the Kansas City run game week in, week out. I heard the Houston Texans have a pretty good defense. Just throwing it out there. And I think you want to be, if you're Kansas City, you need to get the ball to Rashee Rice a million times in this football game to be successful. We know Will Anderson. We know Daniel Hunter. We know how damn good they are. And Houston, probably the hottest team just defensively in the entire NFL for, 6-7 weeks going now. It's amazing what we're witnessing from them. Hopefully they're able to pull the upset on Kansas City because I love my wife and she does not love Kansas City. All right, y'all. Follow me on Tails. Once again, that's for the people in the back. Plus, we got this lovely thing going, 50% off a week or a month of the Lindy VIP. If you want all this work and research thrown together for you, promo code LOGO gets it all to you for 50% off. That is awesome stuff. Both the week or the month. That will be expiring at the end of this week. We'll be running something for Christmas. I'm not sure what that'll be yet, but that's a long time coming. That's going to be 2-3 weeks down the line. Come kick it for a week using promo code LOGO. Check it out. See if you like it. I bet you will. A lot of happy people. Plus, they're talking hockey every live-long day. It's not even my sport. I get to tail some goodness myself. So a lot of sports covered, a lot of opportunities to make some money. Speaking of that, let's get you Z plays. Oops. There we go. Play number 1, Miami taking on the Jets. This is insane stuff. Also, I flip-flopped the graphics. This is supposed to be the Jets. They are in Miami. Or actually, I didn't flip-flop the graphics. I flipped the whatever. I got a video in for you. That's really what matters here for you. We're breaking this down in Miami. Looks like it's going to be all right weather, but how about this last game from Tyrod Taylor? And how about the last game from Adonai Mitchell? Lots of things that we can take away from the Jets. But one is that they went out and got Mechie for nothing from the Houston Texans. They went out and got Addy Mitchell for nothing from the Indianapolis Colts. These are both two very talented wide receivers who were simply stuck in situations that were not favorable. Coaching staffs that either didn't know how to utilize them or they had problems in-house, which I think we can kind of see a little bit from the Addy Mitchell stuff. But overall, when it comes to winning football games, I don't think it really matters if you're able to bring something to the table. And I think both of them definitely have that factor. And Mitchell is just such an interesting case study. And we'll get to that in 1 second. Just to touch on the Miami side, I get that they've been playing better football. I get that Tua has been somewhat appealing from a fantasy option. Well, not from a fantasy option. He's made Jalen Waddle a fantasy option here. Not a great game by any means coming out last time, but that is 3 consecutive wins now for Miami. They were talking about Mike McDaniel getting fired immediately. Maybe they do it after the season. Maybe they don't. But they just beat Buffalo at home. They beat Washington at home. They beat New Orleans at home. And now they get a spot here. Oh, yeah, they're playing in the New York Jets. I had it backwards, but it's whatever. Weather looks a lot better in New York here for this spot as I'm reading my stuff. Like, way to go, Eric. But the main thing here, 27 targets, tons of air yards, tons of opportunity for one Addy Mitchell. I'm backing him for a touchdown here at plus 240. You have an opportunity for half a unit to just basically pay for everything through this entire rest of the card if we are correct on this one. I thought Mechie was interesting at plus 330. Took a long look at that. I thought Mason Taylor would be a very interesting option as well within this offense, and it really has not come to fruition the way that we expected. Only 21 yards the last two, but I think it speaks to the upside, not the quality, because they haven't really shown it entirely week in, week out at the NFL level, but the quality and talent level of these wide receivers. They want to give them involved, give them a shot, see if they can't re-energize their careers. And boy, did Addy Mitchell do something last week. 100 plus. I think his receiving prop is kind of interesting as well. I think Mechie's receiving prop is pretty interesting. I think Laffy already posted that over on Tails. So check out that goodness. Addy Mitchell, not going to pretend like that is my own play. This is my own play. We continue on our merry way. Play number 2, the New Orleans Saints taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll say this, Tampa Bay, they've been more of a pass funnel in years past. Obviously with Vita Vea on the side, you're stopping the run at a continuous clip, but hasn't really been the case here of late. But now no Alvin Kamara. I'm not really sure that Neal's going to be that guy here for the New Orleans Saints. So going into Tampa, I think Tampa does have a chance to put their foot on the throat here in this spot. But I was banging my head against the wall trying to find a play from this one. And speaking of tails, the main reason you want to be over there, people like Jeff Ulrich, the fantasy grind over on X, somebody I've done a lot of golf content with over the years. He is super sharp in the NFL streets. And he posted this, and I had to go back and take a look because I wasn't really familiar with the fact that Foster Burrow was playing as much as what he was. Now, it's not a crazy amount of snaps for what it's worth, 34, 36% here the last 2 weeks. But the big thing of note, they've been playing a lot of 3 wide receiver sets with Vele and Tipton alongside Olave. So when Juwan Johnson comes off the field, he's not playing 100% of snaps. You're basically inserting into the tight end position, something that Tyler Shuck has obviously been targeting quite a bit, 7 and 9 targets the last 2 weeks for Juwan Johnson. And you're seeing 1 and 2 targets for somebody who is plus 425, getting targeted downfield and ran more routes than Juwan Johnson, who's out there blocking at times Foster Moreau, Foster the People season, 20 plus receiving yards, plus 425. That line is available at Bet365. Damn good find. I'll sock it to you one more time. Seattle Seahawks taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons, they have been a desolate defense of broken dreams and sadness, the likes of which this world's never seen before. And Seattle's defense has not been. You look at my cap right now, I can't believe I'm wearing it during this segment purely because Seattle just trounced. A nice little bagel that they put on my Minnesota Vikings last week. They're so good. But offensively, we've also seen Sam Darnold make me cry even more. We've seen him as the number 1 or number 2 rated quarterback at PFF all season long. He's had an unbelievable year. And last week, they didn't need to utilize him very much. They were able to basically have the defense score a couple. They were able to get short fields, kick a lot of field goals, and then obviously stick it down their throats and not have to utilize JSN. We're going to a dome. We have an Atlanta defense that has just gotten torched by the Jets. Bryce Young put up over 400 passing yards against them. They have had unbelievable amount of points and production and everything. Put a bow on it. JSN, the most targeted wide receiver here that I've got in terms of volume on this week's slate. You have a tight end in Trey McBride, who I find it tough actually to get towards his 7.5 reception prop. I get that Marvin Harrison's out. I get that it's an interesting game there with the Rams in Arizona, which we'll talk about in a second. But JSN, I expect him at 7+ receptions, plus 101 over at DraftKings to be an add to your card because it is very, very nice. One more play. Hit that like button for me if you could. Again, put in that work, Devin. Don't give up here on vacay. Rams taking on Arizona. This is a fascinating game. The Rams just got beat up by Carolina. I think everybody, including myself, felt like the Rams were and are the best team in the NFL. But one thing definitely showed out in that Carolina game. They schemed a lot to the flat with Chuba Hubbard, with Jalen Coker, with a number of different pass-catching options. And the Rams were just, whether it's Jared Verse or everybody else, I don't know if it was just assumed, but they sold out to just get after the quarterback. And when you do that, it definitely creates some alleys for pass-catching receivers. You might have noticed last week we talked about a Michael Carter potential ladder. Didn't end up laddering him there, did add him to basically every pick card. DK pick 6, underdog prize picks, thought it was way too low. But I don't want to sleep on Knight as well. I think the combination of the two can live on your same card. In fact, that's something I did in the premium Discord. If you want to know more about that, have that posted, talked through the entire process of it. But Bam Knight, we still have no Trey Benson out there. Murray DeMarcado is out for this week. Bam Knight over 16.5 receiving yards. Shit, I forgot the price there. Minus 116 over at DraftKings. So again, I want to throw the price because it's price and probability. All 3 of the last 3 games, 3 consecutive games, we have seen Bam Knight and Michael Carter go over their receiving props. Over 20 plus receiving yards. Unbelievable production for them. And 38 plus projected passing attempts this week for Jacoby Brissett. That's too much for me to pass up. Volume is king, friends. Just like minutes are king in the NBA. Alrighty, y'all. That's one more place where you can find me, in addition to YouTube's every single Monday through Friday and on the weekends here for the NFL streets. We are still rocking. We're still rolling NFL. And you obviously know MLB. You obviously know what we can do over there. So follow me on Tails, tails.bet/Lindy. If you want to jump into that Discord, promo code LOGO down at the video description box below. That does it for a Week 14 edition of NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that you've got for this week's action. I've got a lot of friends, B Grebs, J Metal K, so many sharp people that are posting on Tails on a day in, day out basis. Go give them a follow. Go check out the goodness that they're posting in the NHL streets, NFL streets, NBA streets, and more. And I will see you guys again on Sunday night for Monday's slate in the NBA and NFL. Until then, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Sunday, Week 14.